I 32 male never thought I'd be the guy posting something like this. But here we are. I'm a planner by nature. I'm a software engineer, the type of guy who reads the terms and service agreements, categorizes his expenses in a spreadsheet, and has a 5-year plan for everything. My life isn't chaotic. It's calculated. Or at least, it was until last week. For the last year, I've been engaged to my fiancée. Let's just call her X. We were deep in the weeds of wedding planning, specifically the 3 months out panic zone. Her parents were heavily involved. To give you a picture of them, think old money attitude with new debt reality. They cared deeply about appearances, country club memberships, and what the neighbors thought. I, on the other hand, come from a blue-collar background. I built my career from scratch, paid off my student loans early, and save aggressively. I always got the vibe that I was a fixer-upper project for them. I wasn't part of their world, but I had a good income, so I was tolerated. We had a joint account set up specifically for the wedding expenses. The deal was simple. We both contribute, we pay the vendors from there. I was dumping a serious chunk of my paycheck into it every month to cover the venue, the catering, the band, all the big-ticket items. X was handling the aesthetic, the flowers, the invites, and managing her parents' endless list of demands. Last Tuesday, X came home with a look on her face that I couldn't quite place. It wasn't sadness, exactly. It was more like determination mixed with a strange sort of pity. She sat on the edge of the sofa, hands clasped tight in her lap, refusing to meet my eyes. My stomach did that little flip it does when you know bad news is incoming, but I kept my face neutral. She started with the classic line, "We need to talk." I sat down opposite her and just waited. I was talking to my parents today, she said, her voice wavering just enough to sound rehearsed. They're really worried. They've been thinking about our future, about how different we are, and, well, they think you're not good enough. For me, for the family reputation. She said it so flatly. Not, I disagree with them. Not, can you believe they said that? Just a statement of fact. I kept my voice level, forcing myself not to react. Okay, and what do you think? She took a shaky breath, finally looking at me. I think they have some valid points. I'm just so confused right now. Everything is moving so fast. I think we need a break. Just a break to think about what we really want. I need space to figure out who I am outside of us. A break. 3 months before the wedding. Invitations were already at the printer. I looked at her closely. There was no confusion in her eyes. There was relief. She looked like someone who had finally dropped a heavy backpack she'd been carrying for miles. The script here is that I'm supposed to panic. I'm supposed to beg, to plead, to promise I'll be better, to ask what I can do to win her parents over. I'm supposed to cry and fight for her. But something in my gut went cold. It wasn't heartbreak. It was suspicion. My planner brain kicked in. A break this close to the finish line isn't a pause. It's an exit strategy where you try to keep the other person on the hook as a safety net. I understand, I said. Her head snapped up. She blinked, clearly thrown off. This wasn't the reaction she'd role-played in her head. She expected screaming, maybe some tears. The complete lack of a fight seemed to terrify her more than an argument would have. You understand? She stammered. I do, I said, standing up. If you need a break, you need a break. I can't force you to be here. You should probably pack a bag. You'll want to stay with your mother, I assume. She just stared at me, dumbfounded, as I walked to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. She didn't move for a full minute. Then, silently, she went to the bedroom. 20 minutes later, I heard the distinct rumble of a suitcase on the hardwood floor. The front door clicked shut without another word. The silence in the apartment was heavy. I sat there for a moment, letting it sink in. She was gone, but the math didn't add up. Her parents thinking I wasn't good enough was old news. Why pull the trigger now? And why a break instead of a breakup? I picked up my phone. My first call wasn't to her or her mother or my best friend. It was to the wedding venue. If we were on a break, we needed to pause the vendors. Hi, I said to the event coordinator, trying to keep my voice steady. I'm calling about the wedding for my last name and her last name on date. We're looking at a potential postponement due to a family matter. The coordinator paused. There was a long, awkward silence on the other end of the line, followed by the rapid clicking of a keyboard. "Sir?" she asked, sounding confused. "I'm sorry, who is this again?" I gave her my name and verified my details. "Oh, Mr. my last name. Sir, that date was canceled over a month ago." I felt the air leave my lungs. It was like the room suddenly tilted. I'm sorry? Did you say canceled?" "Yes, sir. Your fiancée called on October 10th. She confirmed the cancellation. She told us you two had decided to elope instead and didn't need the venue anymore." October 10th, a full month ago. She had been coming home to me, discussing table settings, debating DJ versus band, and playing the role of the excited bride for 4 weeks after she had already killed a wedding. "The refund?" I said, my voice dropping an octave, dangerously calm. "The deposit was $15,000. Where was it sent?" "It was refunded to card on file, as per our policy. We paid the deposit from our joint account debit card." I said, half to myself. I pulled up the banking app while I was still on the phone. I scrolled back to October. Nothing. No $15,000 deposit. "Ma'am, can you confirm the last 4 digits of the card was refunded to?" She read them out. It wasn't the joint account card. It was her personal credit card. She called a few days before the cancellation. The coordinator added helpfully, unknowingly digging the grave deeper. She updated the card on file for incidentals and security purposes. When the cancellation went through, the system automatically refunded to the new primary card. She had planned this. She switched the card, canceled the venue, pocketed the $15,000 refund into her personal account, and then kept the charade going for a month. Why? To let me keep dumping money into the joint account. "Thank you," I said and hung up. I stared at my phone. The betrayal was so absolute it numbed me. This wasn't just a breakup. It was a heist. I opened the joint account app. Total balance, $42,500. I opened my personal finance spreadsheet. My contributions over the last year, $30,000. Her contributions, $12,500. She had canceled the wedding, stolen the $15,000 deposit, and then came to me with a sob story about her parents and needing a break, fully intending to leave me on the hook while she walked off with the $15,000 and likely half of the $42,000 remaining in the account. She probably planned to drain it accidentally or claimed she needed it for moving expenses during the break. I sat there for exactly 10 minutes, letting the anger clarify into a cold, hard plan. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to execute a transaction. I opened the banking app again. Transfer funds from wedding joint account to my personal checking. Amount, $30,000. I clicked confirm. I left exactly $12,500 in the account. Her contribution. Not a penny more, not a penny less. I'm not a thief. I just took back what was mine. But her break just became permanent. And very, very expensive. I didn't have to wait long. About 90 minutes. Enough time for her to get to her parents' house and check her notifications. My phone detonated. First, a text. "Where's the money?" Then, "Where's the wedding money?" Then, "You stole from me." Then, "Pick up the phone." Then the call started. I let them ring. Voicemail 1, her hysterical, "You bastard. You stole our money. My parents were right about you. You're a thief. I'm calling the police. You put that money back right now, or I swear to God I will ruin you." Then, her mother. Of course. Voicemail 2, her mother, ice cold fury, this is mother's name. "You have exactly 1 hour to return that $42,500 to the account. You have committed grand theft. We are contacting our family attorneys and the police. You have no idea the world of pain you are about to enter, you ungrateful little leech. We knew you were only after her money." The irony was so thick I could choke on it. I was after her money? I was the one funding 70% of this wedding. The threats kept coming all evening. They were tag-teaming me. My ex would text me cry about how I'd ruined her life and betrayed her trust, and 5 minutes later her father would text me threatening legal Armageddon and prison time. They were trying to scare me into panic returning the funds. I didn't sleep much that night, but I didn't respond either. The next morning, I did exactly what I planned. I didn't text them. I called my lawyer. He's a sharp guy I've used for my contracting work and some IP stuff. I laid it all out for him. The break, the venue call, the cancellation date, the stolen $15,000 deposit, the joint account structure, and my withdrawal of only my share. He listened in silence, taking notes. When I finished, he let out a low whistle. Wow. Okay, that's something. He explained the situation clearly. First, the joint account, he said. Legally, in our state, it's a joint tenancy with right of survivorship. That means you both own 100% of the money in there. You could have drained the whole thing, and technically, it wouldn't be theft, though it would look bad in civil court. But you only took your documented contributions. You're bulletproof there. The police won't touch it. They'll call a civil dispute and walk away. Second, the harassment, he continued. Block them. Immediately. Do not engage. Third, and this is the fun part, he said, his voice perking up, the $15,000 deposit. That is our weapon. She committed fraud and conversion. She knowingly diverted a joint asset, the refund, into a personal, separate asset, all while maintaining the fraudulent misrepresentation that the wedding was still moving forward to induce you to contribute more funds. That is actual theft. That is actionable. He had me get the written confirmation from the venue via email, showing the cancellation date and the refund card details. Then he sent 2 emails. The first was a cease and desist to her and her parents for the harassment. The second was a formal demand letter. It was a thing of beauty. It stated that she had 48 hours to return the $15,000 deposit she had illegally converted, or we would file a civil suit for that amount plus legal fees, and refer the matter to the district attorney for potential criminal fraud charges. The texts and calls stopped instantly. Dead silence. For about 24 hours. Then the real dirty tricks started. I was at work when I got a call from my HR director. My stomach dropped. HR never calls just to chat. Hey, the director said, sounding awkward and serious. We need to talk. We received a call this morning from a woman identified herself as your former fiancée's mother. I closed my eyes. Okay. She made some very serious allegations, he continued. She claimed you have a gambling addiction, that you've been stealing funds from family accounts, and that you are mentally unstable and a threat to the workplace. She demanded we garner your wages. They were trying to get me fired. They were trying to cut off my income to force me to fold. This was the world of pain, she promised. I took a deep breath. Listen, I am going through a very contentious breakup involving significant financial assets. They are attempting to leverage my employment to extort money from me. I have legal counsel involved. I can forward you a copy of the cease and desist we sent them yesterday regarding this exact behavior. I forwarded the emails from my lawyer. My company, thank God, has known me for 5 years. They know I'm boring, reliable, and definitely not a gambling addict. They backed me. The HR director was actually pissed off on my behalf. This is tortious interference, he muttered. Don't worry, we've got this documented. But now, I wasn't just getting my money back. I was going for blood. That evening, my best man, let's call him Dave, called me. Dude, Dave said, you need to see this. I think I know why she did it. I think I know why she needed the break. He sent me a screenshot. X blocked me on everything, but she forgot to block Dave. It was a post from her father's Facebook page. A picture from 2 weeks ago. It showed X, her parents, and some guy I'd never seen before. He looked like the clone of her father. Polo shirt, loafers, fake tan. They were at the country club, raising champagne flutes. The caption read, "Thrilled to announce our new strategic partnership with company name, and even more thrilled to welcome new guy's name to the extended family. Big things coming." The new guy was the son of her father's new business partner. A wealthy, connected family. The pieces clicked into place. This wasn't a breakup. This was a business merger. They were trading me in. The not good enough speech wasn't just an insult. It was the truth of their warped worldview. I was a placeholder until a better offer came along, and they were trying to finance her transition to the new guy using my money. The $15,000 deposit was her nest egg, and the $42,000 in the joint account was probably to pay for her emotional recovery vacation. I forwarded the screenshot to my lawyer. His response was immediate. This is motive. This is gold. They won't want this aired in a public lawsuit. It makes them look like grifters. The final confrontation happened 3 days later. They didn't respond to the demand letter with a check. They demanded a face-to-face meeting. My lawyer agreed on one condition. It was at his office, on our turf. I walked into the conference room. My lawyer was already at the head of the table. X, her mother, and her father walked in. They looked terrible. The smugness was gone, replaced by a frantic, cornered energy. X wouldn't look at me. She stared at the mahogany table like it was the most interesting thing in the world. Her father tried to take charge immediately. He puffed out his chest. All right, this has been a terrible misunderstanding. Emotions are high. We're a private family. We don't like unpleasantness. Let's just fix this. You return the $30,000 you took from the joint account, and we'll return the $15,000 deposit. We'll call it a wash. Clean slate. My lawyer just smiled. It was a shark smile. No, that's not how this works. He leaned forward, clasping his hands. Let's be very clear about the timeline here. Your daughter canceled the wedding on October 10th. She then illegally diverted a $15,000 joint asset to her personal account. For the next month, she continued to deceive my client, allowing him to deposit thousands more dollars into the joint account for a wedding she knew was not happening. That is fraud. X started to sniffle. I was scared. I didn't know how to tell him. I was confused. Confused? I spoke for the first time. My voice was quiet, but it cut through the room. Were you confused 2 weeks ago? At the country club? I slid the printed screenshot of the Facebook post across the table. Her father's face went from pale to a deep, blotchy red. Welcoming him to the family, I said. That's what this was about, right? You found a better deal. You wanted to upgrade, and you wanted me to pay for the severance package. Her mother stood up, slamming her hand on the table. You have no right. And you, my lawyer interrupted, his voice snapping like a whip. You have no right to contact my client's employer. We have a sworn statement from his HR department detailing your slanderous allegations. You try to get him fired. That is tortious interference with a contract and defamation per se. In this state, the damages for that alone could bankrupt you. The mother sat down hard, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. My lawyer didn't let up. So, here's the reality. There's no wash. The $30,000 my client withdrew is his money. It is legally his. You will also be returning the $15,000, not as a trade, as a repayment of stolen funds. And you will do it today. The father scoffed. Try and find some leverage. Or what? You'll sue us? Go ahead. Litigation takes years. We have lawyers too. Oh, absolutely, my lawyer beamed. And I can't wait for discovery. We'll subpoena the country club records. We'll subpoena new guy and his father. We'll depose everyone involved about this new partnership and how the timeline overlaps perfectly with the fraud committed against my client. How do you think your new business partners will react when they find out their new family is being sued for fraud and theft? How does their family name grift sound as a headline? The silence that followed was absolute. The father's jaw was clenched so hard I could see a vein throbbing in his temple. He knew he was trapped. The money was nothing to them compared to the reputation damage. If the new business partner found out they were being sued for the fraud in the last fiancé, the merger would be dead in the water. He looked at his daughter with pure disgust. Give him the money. I spent some of it, she whispered, tears finally spilling over. I paid off my credit card. I don't care, he roared, making us all jump. Give him the money. He pulled out his own checkbook. A certified cashier's check, or a wire transfer. Today, my lawyer said, and you will all sign a comprehensive settlement agreement, an NDA with a strict non-disparagement clause. If you ever contact my client or his employer again, we sue for breach of contract. They sat there defeated. The father made a call to his private banker. An hour later, a courier arrived with a cashier's check for $15,000. I took the check. I stood up and looked at X. She was crying into her hands, a mess of mascara and regret. Not regret for what she did, but regret that she got caught. I understand, I said again, echoing the last words I'd said to her in our apartment. I turned and walked out. The break is definitely permanent. The consequences were 2. I heard through Dave that the new guy's family did find out eventually. Small towns talk, even rich ones. The new partnership is reportedly under review. An engagement announcement never happened. My $30,000 is back in my savings. The $15,000 check cleared. I bought myself a nice bottle of scotch and booked a trip to Europe. Solo,